Hello everyone. Today I'm going to introduce you with the topic chemical bonding. This is the new topic that we are going to cover. And let's just start by doing the definition of chemical bonding. It's the force that keep together the atoms in any molecule. And depending on the type of bonding, the forces will be stronger or weaker. Let's see the different classification for chemical bonding now. We identify mainly three types of chemical bonding: the ionic bonds, covalent, and metallic. Let's explain each one of them. For instance, in ionic bond, uh, take place when a metal and a non-metal join together and the metal transfers electron to the non-metal. Like as you can see here on this picture, the sodium, who has a one valence electron, is transferring one electron to the chlorine, forming sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a typical ionic compound, and the same happens with the magnesium oxide. Magnesium has two valence electrons, two electrons that will be available, and in order to reach the maximum stability, oxygen want to be surrounded by a electron, which also introduce or bring to us another concept that is called octet rule. Um, Most of the elements, there are few exceptions, will try to surround by a electron, and that will give the elements a great stability. The other typical or chemical bond that we can recognize is the covalent. What's the main difference between ionic and covalent? On covalent, instead of transferring electron, the elements are sharing electron, and the covalent happen between two non-metal. As you can see here, oxygen is sharing two electron with each other, forming a double bond. That's a double bond here, and that will be a non-polar covalent. What is the meaning of non-polar? Both elements will have the same electronegativity. They will attract the electron with the same forces, and that's why there is no any polarity on the bond. But this one is a different one. This is the water. It's also covalent. Again, let me repeat again. Covalent is taking place between element who has lower difference in electronegativity, which is mainly non-metals among non-metals, while the ionic will be between the elements who have a bit different in electronegativity, like metals and non-metals. In the case of water, the electronegativity from hydrogen and oxygen is different, and that will create a polarity. And that's why you can see here on the top, this one is a positive one and this one is a negative one. Next, it will be the metallic bond. This is the most well-known, I will say, type of bond because we use metals every day, from the can that we use for sodas, and the cars are having metal. So what happened on the metallic bond? You have a metal that will be surrounded by a sea of electron, and the metal will be ionic metal, which is a cation metal. As you can see on the picture, is copper 2. So the electron from copper are shared among all the atoms of copper, and that's why metal can easily conduct the electricity, conduct the heat, and that gives some property. There is a fair hydrogen bond that I didn't mention at the beginning of the slide when I say we identified three main type of chemical bonds: ionic, covalent, and metallic. And the reason I didn't mention hydrogen bond as a typical one is no many molecule will have the hydrogen bond. There are plenty of compounds that will be ionic, covalent, or metallic, but hydrogen bond is only happen between hydrogen and oxygen, between hydrogen and fluorine, between hydrogen and nitrogen. Actually, three compounds. And what happens is the electron from the oxygen, who are very electronegative element, will be attracting the hydrogen, forming a hydrogen bond. And that explains why water has a highly boiling point compared with hydrogen sulfide, which is the next element below oxygen, is sulfur. Sulfur hydrogen sulfide will be gas at room temperature while water is liquid. And that's also explain many of the property like boiling point for water, and that's the hydrogen bond. Again, hydrogen bond is not the type of bond that you will find in many compound. As I said before, hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen, and hydrogen and fluorine, who are the element who has a high electronegativity. Okay, next slide will explain the definition of ionic bond and covalent. And here are a few questions related to that. The image showed the bonding between lithium and fluorine. What the arrow red, uh, what does the red arrow show? I mean, it will be electron being transferred. So I will say this is the correct answer. Which of the following is not an state of forming ionic bond? Okay, share. I will say share, right? Because opposite charge ion form do the transfer of electron. One atom gives electron to another. Opposite charge ion attract. I will say sharing because sharing is more for covalent compound. Let me click on this answer. Yeah, that's the correct answer. And ionic bond is the attraction between a metal and a non-metal. That will be the correct answer. And let me submit that. And cation because it's multiples, so there is more than one. So that will be between cations and anion. And also opposite charge ions. Similar charge, no. Neutral atom, no. Let's see if the three that I picked are the right one. Yes, that's the correct one. Which of the following will not form an ionic compound? It should be something that will have elements who have a small difference in electronegativity. And I will select fluorine and oxygen because they are very close to each other, while the rest are metal. Actually, these also two metals, so I will select these two. And magnesium and sulfur, they have a significant difference in electronegativity, metal and non-metal, metal and non-metal, while these two, this is no metal and non-metal, and these two are metals and metals. So let's select these two and see what happens. Yep, those are the correct answer. Which of the following will form an ionic compound? Okay, sodium and fluorine will form, and sulfur and oxygen are no metal. I will say no. Calcium and iron are metal. So the next pair will be magnesium and chloride actually, because it's an ion already. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Next thing is the definition of covalent bond. I mentioned that will be sharing electron between element who has a small difference in electronegativity. And then let's try an answer. A polar bond is the one that has electronegativity different greater than zero point 0.7. I will say the more different in electronegativity, the more polar will be. So I will select the first one because it's greater than zero point 0.7. Because this one they say less than zero point 0.7. So the bigger the difference in electronegativity, the more polarity. Oops, has a different greater than zero point 0.5. My bad. greater than 0.5. 0.5 will be enough. Okay, which of the following element will be covalent bonded? Covalent will be fluorine and chlorine. That will be this one. And the rest is metal. There will be a gas and metal that will make a sort of alloy. So I'm going to select covalent will be fluorine and chlorine. This one. Yeah. How are covalent explained? When they share electron with another atom. Yeah. What type of atom make a covalent bond to no metal? That's an easy question. And then metallic bond will be the one taking place between metals, and there is a sea of electron, and the metal are positive charge, forming a cation. So metallic bond form because metal, let's say, want to give a valence electron, have many valence, always gain, no, it will not gain valence electron, always share. I will go give up valence electron seems like the most, yeah, many valence electron is typical for no metal. Always share valence electron that will be more covalent. So the, let's say this is the right one. Yeah, I want to share the I mean give away the valence electron. The force attraction between that will be positive and negative ion. No, that will be mainly ionic cations and electron. I will say this one. That's a typical metal are used to make electrical wire because metals are ductile and have free moving electron. I will submit these two. That's why they can easily make electrical wire. Metal has a positive ion and see which metal provides the most electron of. Okay, good question. The most which metal atom provide the most electron for the C? Aluminum has three, so aluminum will be giving three electron to the. That will be the valence electron. Let's pick aluminum. Yeah. Which statement describes the structure of copper? I think it has a lattice of negative ion. No, it has a lattice of negative ion opposite and a sea of electron. That will be more like a metallic bond. Yeah. And next topic will be molecular geometry. Molecular geometry will be the shape of any molecule based on the um, bonding and the lone pair, and we will see that on the next video. So let's just stop today um, short video on the first topic about chemical bonding, and then we will continue working on molecular geometry on the next video. Thank you for watching.